Hello, faithful, and welcome to Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio here on YouTube. I'm your host, Keven Crothers, station manager for Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio and staff writer for Heaven's Metal Magazine. You can check out both of those things, Heaven's Metal Streaming Radio, 24 hours a day on Live 365, and then Heaven's Metal Magazine, heavensmetalmagazine.com, all the latest and greatest writing and all that fun stuff. I want to start a new series today. This is Classic Albums in Review. And on this particular inaugural edition, I thought, what better way to kick this off than a brief just discussion of 1985's Between Heaven and Hell by Resurrection Band. Oh, excuse me, Rez, as they went by on this release. This was a big deal when it came out. Now, you could tell this is the original 1985 issue on Sparrow. They made a big deal in the press, as well as it was released on Capitol Records in the secular marketplace. They made a video as well in 85. You know, there was the Rez videos. This had both Crimes and Love Comes Down. Love Comes Down was the music video shot for this particular album. And it never appeared on MTV that I'm aware of. I never saw it on MTV. I used to watch a lot of MTV. I think a lot of people, you know, these days, oh, I saw it. I'm thinking, we saw it, maybe you saw it on TBN, maybe you saw it in a Christian bookstore, but on MTV? Really? At when? 2 a.m.? They weren't, in 85, you know, they didn't even play Stryper Soldiers Under Command in 1985. They did once, that I'm aware of, and I saw that. It was amazing. But Rez was, you know, lyrically, this was a little different. It wasn't straight up in your face with the gospel per se. You didn't get, it never said Jesus on this record. But having said that, there was truly a Christian worldview on this album, without a doubt. You know, lyrics, you know, Love Comes Down. I think, you know, there were issues dealing with the apartheid, you know, with Zuid African. The Main Event, dealing with the briefness of life. There were a couple of new, I'll say new wavy kind of things that, like, you know, Talk to Me. But songs like Save Me From Myself, Nervous World, 2000. Nervous World and 2000 were heavy, but the highlights on this record, really, for all of us that grew up listening to this record, Love Comes Down, which had that Muddy Waters AC/DC riff. Sounded very similar anyway. A great song, but, you know, Shadows. Everybody's just shadows. And it's a great song. And I remember when I heard Shadows, that guitar, the intro picking of that song reminded me, it doesn't sound anything, it's not even close, but the melody and such kind of reminded me of a Loudness song off of Thunder in the East. Yeah, I know, very obscure, but that was me back in 1985. And the production here, it was recorded in Tone Zone there in Chicago. That was Japuza, Jesus People USA. That was their home studio for Rez. This one, they had recorded 2 other records prior to this. 2 other records. The first one was DMZ, and it really, it still needed a lot of tightening up. Hostage definitely sounded better. And then this one really, it had 1985. It sounds fantastic. To me, it's like, it doesn't sound dated. Some of the synthy type songs, they still, like I say, they still had a couple of those on here. You know, those sound a little dated, but The main event, I think you know, Love Comes Down, Nervous World, the year 2000, 2000, the album closer. This is a great hard rock metal album. This is, easily one of their top 3 best records. I think I'd be hard-pressed to find someone to argue with me about that. Easily one of Rez's top 3. And I saw them twice on this tour. Once they played at Wolfgang's in San Francisco. The Altar Boys opened up. And then I saw them at the Warehouse Christian Ministries up in Sacramento, California. Wolfgang's was in San Francisco, California. It was a secular nightclub. They played up the next night was in Sacramento, about an hour, 2 hours north of San Francisco. And great shows both nights. This album has been remastered. I know that Japuza put out a remaster of this in 2020. Unfortunately, I did not get a copy of that. But I did. Girder Records has a triple pack that they have in store for a remaster, which is Hostage, Live Bootleg, and Between Heaven and Hell, all licensed officially from Capital Christian Music, whatever it is. But this record is one of those albums that if you like hard rock and metal, you still get a bit of a bluesy, not a lot. And this is 85. This isn't 88. This is right before they took that 3-year sabbatical. Between this album, they didn't get another record till 88. And, what else is there to say? Rez, Between Heaven and Hell, it's a great record. You'll want to get a copy. Like I say, if you like 80s rock, metal, definitely worth checking out. Should also mention, hey, this was also the last record with Jim Denton on bass guitar. He ended up going to seminary after they did the record and the tour, as I understand it. You had Glenn and Wendy. Glenn still playing guitar and vocals. Wendy doing vocals. Jim Herron on drums. And Stu Heiss also on guitar. Glenn and Stu would trade leads on different songs from time to time. Fantastic album, though. Don't want to make this video any longer than it needs to be, but it was a big deal. It really was a big deal in 85. I know that Rez played with Stryper in Southern California. It was a big deal back then. So, VHS, I haven't seen this in a million years. I'm sure you could probably find this on YouTube. And anyway, till next time, don't forget to say your prayers, and God bless.